Very good afternoon to everyone and respected dignitaries and friends. I thank NABARD for giving me the opportunity to speak to all of you today at this important gathering. At the onset, I must say that we should congratulate the Prime Minister on his vision to double farmer incomes. Most economists have expressed apprehensions on the idea of doubling farm incomes in 6 years. As a farmers organization, as an independent farmers organization, I think it is very much possible to double farm incomes because they are already so low. I mean, the baseline is so low that it should not be a problem. When Niti Aayog started consultations on a 15-year vision document, they called us to give our opinion. And for a future strategy which works with this idea of doubling farm incomes, we said that 3 or 4 things which, irrespective of what happens, is required. Majority of farm holdings will remain small. Every farmer household will be sustained by at least one member of the family working off the farm. Second was that 60% of India will remain dependent on rainfall irrespective of what investments the government does. Commodity stocks will be very volatile, just as the weather, and that we must understand. Population will stabilize in 20 years, and economic prosperity will change food habits and drive production choices for farmers, not government policy. That is very important. पहले सेशन में मंत्री जी ने बोला to drive a fire in everyone, so I think I will start by saying what nobody wants to hear. तो थोड़ा सा it will drive a fire in everyone. Rather than say what is required to be done, I will begin with what is not required to be done on behalf of government to enable farmers to have a doubling of farmer incomes. There are certain myths. All government policies, not Modi ji's policy, but all government policies in the last many decades have been made with one premise that India we cannot produce enough food. As a farmer, I completely disagree with it. I think 9 out of 10 years we can produce sufficient food irrespective of what happens, including climate change, going forward for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 decades. We have the ability to do it if allowed to do so by the government. Over the last decade, and lots of people will disagree with me, especially on the stage, but I will stand by my argument, that in the last decade, due to government action, farm gate prices received by farmers have been systematically subdued by over 10 lakh crore rupees. Agar government action nahi hota, so farmers would have, the farm gate prices would have been 10 lakh crore rupees more. And it's a controversial statement. If you had not put export bans on rice, if you had not put export ban on wheat, if you had not put export ban on onions, potatoes, on everything you put an export ban. When prices fall, you want maize to come in, 5 lakh tons of maize have been invited by the government, butter oil, ghee is being invited, the dairy sector is being killed because of ghee imports, and things like that. So it's government action getting edible oil into the country at such low duty rates is what is killing the ability of farmers to double their income. I had thought that the government agenda was make in India, but what I see from the African safari is that we're trying to grow pulses in Africa. As a farmers organization, we are absolutely against this idea. And I'm not sure if the Agriculture Ministry has been consulted on this, and if they have been consulted on this, have they concurred with the idea? That is left to be answered. Inversely, foreign direct investment to 1 lakh crore rupees is being invited in the animal husbandry sector. Like Sodhi Saab ne bataya, this is one sector where we have done very good. In the drought year also we have produced so much that the prices are very, very low for farmers today. This is one sector where we don't need FDI and retail. And this is a problem. All government programs that are happening, and when I say government, please don't misinterpret it as about this government. As a farmers organization, when I say government, I mean governments in the past 10, 15 years. I'm not focusing on one government because policy is not changing. They remind me of Ramesh Chandji. Alexander the Great was a great emperor of the world, and once he went to this philosopher Dionysius, and he was a great philosopher. He went and stood in front of him and he said, "What can I do for you?" So diagnosis says just stand out of the sunlight, let the sunlight come on to you. So as a farmers organization, we are telling the government, please stand out of our way. And we had the ability to double our income. Give us space to grow, let us also prosper in the sunlight. And sir, coming to NABARD, this is very important. I think that cooperative banks are being systematically killed by political interference and by government being supportive of public sector banks vis-a-vis cooperative banks. We had been invited by the RBI governor last it's been around 8 months, possibly the first farmer organization we were told in the history of RBI to discuss on agriculture credit. Davi sir was there. We tried to take a public sector banker, rural banker, agriculture development officer, because I'd already told Raghuram Rajanji that I will not get any senior officers. They all have the same ideas. Let's get somebody from the ground level. So Punjab se we took a cooperative bank ke officer ko le gaye, but the public sector bank का जो हेड था स्टेट का, he told that officer कि भाई RBI गवर्नर के पास जा रहे हो, मैं जाऊंगा तुम नहीं जाओगे. If you go, we will suspend you and I'll give you a bad posting. So the poor fellow told me, don't take me. So this is the kind of approach that needs to change. We need to involve stakeholders from the ground level to come up with ideas. And I request NABARD for two things. One is, on your board you must have a farmer. If you're doing for farmers, you must involve stakeholders. This is how the future. I also request to NABARD, and lots of you will not clap for this, is that we need a CAG audit of the agriculture lending portfolio of public sector banks. Without putting accountability on public sector bank chiefs, agriculture credit is only for the books. It is not reaching out to farmers. And there's lots of data, I will not go into this, but this is something that is required. Also, we get to hear that there's not enough money to invest in agriculture. Then we have the 7th pay commission comes in. Minimum salaries are increased from 7,000 to 18,000 rupees. 3 lakh government employees, lots of you could be in this room, wanted increase to 26,000 rupees. Okay, in 17 states, farmers earn 20,000 rupees or less per year. Now, if you want farmer incomes to double, how do you invest that money? The question is not of insufficient funding, but the question is of irrational use and inequitable resource distribution coupled with inaccessibility of food. That is the problem this country faces, not of insufficient production and not of insufficient funds. It is how we use those resources. And for that, we need to involve farmers when we make policy. There are 9 crore farmer households approximately in the country living, and 100 districts in the country have assured irrigation of less than 10%. Around 100 districts in the country have 80%, I believe, of India's poverty. I might be wrong by 10 or 20 districts. Now, this is where we need to focus our policies if we need to double farm incomes. A pan-India policy that is applicable for dryland agriculture in Jharkhand, irrigated farming in Punjab is not going to work. We need a very, very diverse policy, and this must clearly be understood. At this conference also, I find our private sector participation is not there as it should be, because without private sector participation, doubling of farm incomes itself could pose a problem. And I think, because time could be running out, is that I think it's a great opportunity that I get to speak, and I thank NABARD for it. Ashok Gulati ji baithe hain, and I get to speak in his presence. And because one can always look to him to correct you and to guide you in the right direction. These are some of the issues, and some of the issues flagged by Ramesh Chandji. The most heartening thing I would say that of doubling farm income, why we are confident, is that we have Ramesh Chandji sitting in the Niti Aayog directing, and I request everyone on behalf of farmers to give a hand to Ramesh Chandji for being there in the Niti Aayog. He flagged a few points, and doubling farm incomes will require a few, there are lots of things. I mean, there might not be enough time. I can delay you for lunch and you'll be even more fire in your belly, but I will not do that. And I will just simply say that, take a few examples of how a little policy tweak will make a difference. Farm machinery, for example. Farm machinery ownership is the worst thing that can happen. and we have said it before, we've written about it, that once you own a tractor with a loan from a bank, for the rest of your life you work for the bank. You don't work for yourself. Because if you have 2 acres or 1 acre of land, as we have been told, you buy a tractor, just the interest component is more than your income. Forget servicing the tractor, forget repaying the loan. So we have said, I said this first 5 years ago in a seminar of tractor manufacturers. They never called me for a seminar again. But I really think that it is important that farmers have access to machinery, but they don't have to own it. And for that, custom hiring is important. It is happening in cooperative societies in my village and villages across India in a very informal way. It is possible maybe to institutionalize it. And with better farm machinery, sir, मैं समझता हूँ कि we can actually increase productivity without increasing inputs by 25%. Easily. For example, if I have a pneumatic seed drill, which I'm now hiring from someone in my farm to do maize sowing today, I've come just for this program, I can actually increase productivity by 25%. My water use remains same, my seed use in fact reduces, my fertilizer use remains same. So there are ways to increase productivity without increasing input cost. But how will NABARD or how will the banking sector incentivize joint ownership of machinery? That is a question that the system needs to answer. It's already been said that we need to increase milk yield, but we need to decrease the number of animals. And there are many things. Without reducing the number of population directly dependent on agriculture to 33% of India's population, I think so that should be the target as a vision document, and even for doubling farm income, that we need to get people directly dependent on agriculture down to 33%. For farmer incomes to double, it is very important that industry and service sector does well, so there is a place for farmers to go and work. It also happens that in the last few years there were many conferences where people said that youth ko agriculture se retain karo, youth ko retain in agriculture. Wherever I said whoever which are saying retain youth in agriculture, why don't you send your children to agriculture? You don't want to be in agriculture. And in agri family, what happens is, let's say there are 2 brothers. So the more enterprising brother will go open a shop, he'll go work as a contractor, he will work as a bus driver, he will go something, he will leave the farm and he will do something. It is the less enterprising, the stupid brother like me, myself, who's on the farm farming, because the more enterprising one is doing something else. So what is happening is, with this migration that was told here, is that the best of the farm youth, which is enterprising, is leaving farming, and it's the other part which is being left on the farm, and it's a very, very dangerous trend. So I think so, if the service sector and the industry sector does not well, it will be difficult for farmers to prosper on the farm. So it's a very, very interconnected world. So there are lots of suggestions. You need ethical, transparent regulatory mechanism for farm policies. You need even more strict regulation for spurious pesticide use. We need to start reducing use of fertilizers. Antibiotics is coming into agriculture. It's coming into fisheries, it's coming into animal husbandry, it's coming into dairy, it's even coming into, and it's unregulated. So we need a very strict regulatory system to look at this. Time is limited, and I thank everyone for this opportunity to patiently hear what I have to say. Thank you so much.